It happens without warning. A song comes on. Maybe one you haven't heard in years, maybe one you've heard 1,000 times, and then somewhere between the first note and the second verse, something moves through you. Your skin tightens, the hair on your arms rises, a wave passes from your chest outward, and for 3 or 4 seconds you are somewhere else entirely. Scientists call it frisson, you call it chills, and the fact that music can do this to a human body is one of the strangest, most beautiful accidents in the history of evolution. Your skin doesn't react to sound, not normally. Goosebumps evolved as a response to cold and to fear, a primitive reflex that raised body hair to trap warmth or make an animal look larger to a predator. That reflex has been in your biology for hundreds of millions of years, long before music existed, long before language, long before anything remotely human walked the earth. So why does a chord progression trigger it? Neuroscientist Robert Zatorre at McGill University has been studying musical frisson for decades. His research revealed something that surprised even him. The chills you feel from music activate the same neural pathways as food, sex, and drugs. The brain releases dopamine, the molecule of reward and anticipation, not just when the peak of a song arrives, but in the seconds before it. Your brain is predicting the emotional climax, and that prediction, that lean forward into something beautiful, is itself the pleasure. This is why the build-up hits harder than the drop. Zatorre's team used brain imaging to watch what happens during musical chills. The nucleus accumbens, your brain's reward center, lit up with dopamine release, but the caudate nucleus, which processes anticipation, activated first. Your brain was savoring the approach. The chills were not a reaction to what happened, they were a reaction to what your brain knew was coming, but not everyone feels them. Studies suggest that roughly 1/3 of people never experience musical frisson at all, and for a long time no one knew why. In 2017, Matthew Sachs at the University of Southern California published a study that changed the conversation. Using MRI scans, he found that people who experience frisson have a physically different brain structure. Their auditory cortex, the region that processes sound, has more nerve fibers connecting it to the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for emotional processing. In people who get chills from music, sound, and emotion are structurally more wired together. The highway between hearing and feeling is simply wider. This means musical chills are not a universal human experience. They are a neurological trait distributed unevenly across the population, like perfect pitch or synesthesia. You either have the wiring or you don't. And if you've ever stood next to someone completely unmoved by a piece of music that is pulling you apart, now you know you are not more sensitive. You are differently built. There is something else hidden inside frisson that researchers found unexpectedly. The music that triggers chills most reliably is not the music you love most. It is the music that violates your expectations. A sudden change in key, an unexpected instrument entering the mix. A moment of silence before a crescendo. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine, and when a pattern breaks in a beautiful way, when something you didn't predict arrives and it is exactly right, the reward system fires intensely. The surprise is the drug, the wrongness that turns out to be perfectly right. Musicologist David Huron calls this the ITPRA theory: imagination, tension, prediction, reaction, appraisal. Your brain is constantly forecasting music a fraction of a second ahead. When the forecast is wrong in a pleasurable direction, dopamine floods the system. Frisson is the body's physical expression of that chemical event. This is also why the same song can give you chills for years, but eventually stops. Your brain learns the pattern. The surprise erodes, the forecast becomes reliable. And when the brain can perfectly predict what comes next, the reward center quiets. Familiarity is the enemy of frisson, unless something changes. Hearing a beloved song in an unexpected context, in a film at a pivotal moment in a city you've never visited, played by musicians you've never heard, can reactivate the chills. The brain's forecast is disrupted again. The surprise returns, and with it the dopamine. There is a reason musicians spend years crafting the exact placement of a bridge, the precise timing of a rest, the decision to bring in strings 16 bars later than expected. They are, whether they know it or not, engineering violations of prediction. They are building machines designed to trigger the same neural pathway as your first meal after days of hunger. When those chills move through you, you are not being sentimental. You are not being dramatic. You're experiencing your brain's reward system responding to a moment of beautiful surprise, a moment where the pattern broke, the prediction failed, and something arrived that was better than anything you could have expected. The song didn't move you. Your brain moved itself.